So join me today while I make this beautiful wreath for Easter. Let's get started. Okay, so to make this wreath, you're going to need a 5-gallon paint stir stick. You'll need a few of some zip ties to make a hanger. You'll need some pipe cleaners. So the rest of these supplies I bought mainly from Walmart. I purchased this burlap ribbon and they have different colors. I decided to do mine in the yellow. I've got some cherry blossoms and some boxwood stems and different color ribbons, along with some speckled Easter eggs and some Easter grass. So I'm going to put all these together and we're going to make a beautiful springtime Easter wreath. So to get started, I'm going to set all this aside and we're going to work on our 5-gallon stir stick. So to start, we're going to prep our paint stir stick. And right here in the curve, we're going to put our zip ties. And so the way I do this is I take a zip tie and I just start it, like leave it like this so it doesn't come apart, but not all the way tight. Okay, and then I'm going to take another zip tie and I'm going to loop it through here. And I'm just going to go down to it starts to click and leave that one loose. Okay, and then I will take my other zip tie, try to put it in the middle, and I'm going to tighten it as much as I possibly can. Now you can also make a loop with wire if you prefer. Either way will work. I just had this on hand, so I'm using the zip ties, and I'll just cut the tail off and then cut the little tail off of the loop here. And so now you have your hanger to hang your swag. Okay, so I'll turn it over to the smooth side, and then we'll start to put our pipe cleaners. For the pipe cleaners, you're going to put your first one right underneath that loop. And I just try to make it even right here at the top. And then I'll swing it to the side. And then twist it and tie it, twist it tight right here. Okay. And then I'll do the same to the other. Right underneath it, I'm going to do the same thing and go to the other side. And then just twist it. And then, see, if you're measuring out your paint stir stick from the flat end here all the way over to where it starts to curve is about 18 inches. Now this is one I got from Walmart. So other stores may vary in the length, but the total length is usually around 21 and a half with the curve at the top. So yeah. So then I'm going to go to about in the middle, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did to the top, even it out, and then go over to the side and twist. And then I'll do the same thing right under it and twisting over to the other side. Okay, and then I'll come back down to see 18 inches to here. So this is around the 10 and a half inch mark, because you want to go and put your next set about 2.5 inches from the bottom. Okay. Okay, and so they don't slide easily right here, you can put some hot glue um, to glue them, to keep them from sliding around. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is put one between the top two, right in the center. And you want to twist it right in the center. And you'll do the same thing between the bottom two. Okay. And just to let you know, in case I didn't mention it in the beginning, you will need a hot glue gun to glue some of your embellishments on, as well as, you know, putting it on your um, pipe cleaners if you need it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Put some hot glue on my pipe cleaners, but I'm going to put it from the bottom so that it's not showing on the top. Now you can just put glue and then put a little piece of felt over it if you want, or you could just put glue and no felt. I'm not going to put any felt pieces over it because I'm probably going to put a piece of um, a piece of ribbon or felt on the back to cover the work on the back. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to use some of this leftover 10-inch mesh that I got in my stash. It's like a lime green or lime yellow. And I'm going to use that for the base so that, you know, give it more coverage. And I'm just going to go around the whole thing. Scrunching it up on the end here. And I'm sorry at the top, but I'm going to start by placing it in one of our sides at the top. Give it a good twist, a couple twists, and snug it. And I'm going to cut off this little excess, and you could put a another zip tie down here if you want, in order to keep it extra secure if you like. Okay, and then I'm just going to unroll this. So it's going to make a 10-inch loop. I'll just measure it out and then bring it over and put it into this next one on the other side of the top. Pull it really tight and give it a good twist. Okay, and then I'll turn it and then make another 10-inch loop. And then I'm going to bring it down to where I have the next side, you know, the next pipe cleaners, and off to the side. Skip this one that's right in the middle. We're going to come back to that one. Okay, and then we'll just keep going, make another 10-inch loop, bring it down to the one on the end, and secure it there. And we'll make another 10-inch loop, and then bring it around to this other side. And you can use any colors that you like that will match your Easter decor. There's so many beautiful colors that are just perfect for Easter and spring. So, and I'm just measuring my 10 inches out on by using my board underneath here, but you can use a ruler if you need to. Okay, and I'm going to make another 10-inch loop and go back to the beginning, and I'm going to secure that in that same trimmer. It's 10 inches. So I'll secure it in that same pipe cleaner that I had started with. Okay, and we're going to puff these out, after a while. But then I'm going to take this and I'm going to make another 10-inch loop. And this time I'm going to go in that center that we have at the top, that one single pipe cleaner. Pull it tight and twist it a couple times. And then we'll do that again, going into the next center pipe cleaner. I still have a little bit left on this roll, so I'm just going to keep going. This time, since it's a shorter distance to the next side, I'll just do like a 8-inch or 7-inch loop. Stick it in that one. And then bring it around. This way you're going to have a good coverage. It's not going to be see-through. Or it will be a little bit, but we're going to go over it with that burlap, so it'll cover it. Since I got about a foot left, for this little bit I have left, I'm going to go ahead and make a small loop and stick it back through that center. Your center pipeline on pipe cleaner on the bottom, and then with the rest of it, I'm just going to scrunch it up and I'm going to put it through the next center pipe cleaner because it doesn't make a very big loop if I do that. So I'll just scrunch it up and put it through the next side one. Okay, and then you can go in there and fluff up all of your little loops. You want to make sure that you can reach all of your zip ties, because that's where we're going to go in and put our burlap and our ribbons. So I'm going to set this aside for now, and then we'll start to cut our burlap. And you can see on the top, the loop is, not as wide as the bottom, but that's okay because up here we're going to put us a bow, and it's going to cover this portion up here, and it'll look more proportional to the bottom once we have that bow up at the top. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to cut our burlap, and it is 6 inches wide and 5 yards long. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut them about 7 or 8 inches. You don't need them to be too long for this because it's a burlap. It's kind of thick, and all I want to do is just I'm going to curl over one end, and then I'll curl over the other, and I'm just going to kind of bring them together like a double curl. And we might be putting more than one of these in each of the sections, so I don't want it to be too thick because we also need to put our ribbons in these sections as well. So we're just going to go in and you're going to put the burlap right there. Okay, just like that. So we just need to cut 8 of these. to fill in each of these. And like I said, you can go back and put as many of these as you want into those same sections. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut some more and start filling them in. Okay, you can see I've put all of our burlap into the different, into each of the pipe cleaners. So to make sure that my pipe cleaners are not too sharp because the burlap is thick, I'm going to go ahead and start placing all of my ribbons into the swag. First, I'm going to set this aside so I can cut my ribbons. And I'm going to cut each one of these. Let's see, there's 9 feet in them. And this I purchased at Walmart. It's the Ofray brand. So since there's only 9 feet, I'm going to cut them at about 9 inches. Because I want some leftover ribbon to make the bow for the top. So I'm going to cut them right at 9 so that I can fishtail the ends. Just going to straighten this one out, that edge a little bit. Okay, and then go over 9 inches and cut that one. Now I've also got some yellow and I have some pink. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut all of my ribbons down to 9 inches, except for these smaller, like these are 1.5 inches. I have a smaller, like 1-inch ribbon that I'm just going to cut that one to about like an 8. Okay? And I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I've cut out all my ribbons. And I ended up cutting them out at 8 inches instead of the 9 inches. And then I'm short one on the green, but that's okay because I'm going to put that one at the top and that bow's going to go up at the top, so it's not going to be noticeable. So I'm going to take my green, which is like a 2-inch, and start layering it with the different ribbons. And I'm just going to kind of turn them, cross them over like so. And then my pink ribbon will be the last one. And then pinch it all up in the middle. And then I kind of turn it like a V so that when I go to put it into my swag, it's going to hold this shape. So I'll just go down here, pick one of the openings, and go and place it into our pipe cleaner. Okay. And then I'm going to do that to all of these sections, and starting with my green, then my purple, plaid, my pink, just a little pinch in the middle, and then placing it over one of my burlap pearls. Okay. So I'm going to do that to the rest of this swag, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so I've got all my bundles on, and I had the space right here in the middle. So if you want to put a sign, like a Happy Easter sign or anything like that, or a plush toy or something in the middle, you can do that. I'm going to put a little bunny in the middle of my wreath. I'll do that at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to make a bow to place at the top. So I'll set this aside again. And I'm going to take my leftover ribbons and make a bow. Just going to go ahead and take all this off of the roll. Just cutting that off where the tape was. So, okay. So to make our bow, I'm just going to leave like a 7 or 8 inch tail. A little pinch right here. And then make a loop. And then I'll make another loop. I don't have much left of this, so I'm just going to make a few little loops. I'm going to make my tail a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to cut it there. And this piece I'm going to save for another part, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hold this with a clip. And then I'll go on and I'll do the same thing with my yellow ribbon. I think with my yellow ribbon, I might have enough to do like 3 or 4 loops. Make 3. That'll cut. And so clip to hold that for now. Okay, and then I'm going to take my ribbon, my pink ribbon, because it's not wired, it's a little bit on the floppy side. But I want to add it to it because it's going to match the rest of the ribbons. Okay, so now I'm going to take my bows that I made, start layering them together. And I'm going to take a zip tie and then zip tie them together, and then I will fluff them out. And I'm going to dovetail the ends. Okay, and you can make your bow as big as you want for your top if you want it bigger than this. I'm just using what's left over, so it's not going to be very large. Okay, and I'm going to take a pipe cleaner, twist that around here. I'm going to use a pipe cleaner to attach it to the top of the swag. Okay. Find the top of my swag. And I'm just going to go right here at the top. See that really well. And I need to cut off my tail of my zip tie. Okay. So then I'll take this, and you can see the wood piece up at the top, and you just want to put your pipe cleaners behind here, and then you can flip it and turn it, twist it real tight behind here. Good. And then I'll cut off that piece and just move that pipe cleaner out of the way. Okay, so it's my top. And then you can arrange it and let the ribbons hang and fluff out your loops. Okay. Okay, so the next step is to embellish our swag. And you can do this with florals, any kind of Easter decor. Like I've got these speckled Easter eggs, and I'm going to glue these onto my swag. So you'll need a hot glue gun if you're going to do that. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to give my little pipe cleaners another little twist or two, and then I'm going to cut these off and tuck them down. And then I'm going to glue an Easter egg on top of each of my little ribbon bundles. And right underneath my ribbon bundles, I'm going to put some of this Easter grass so that my little eggs are sitting on the grass right on top of our bundles. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside again so I can make some little Easter grass bundles. And this I got, from Walmart for like 50 cents. It's very inexpensive. I want to take them. It might take a while to do this, but just want to make sure that they're in little bundles so that they're not going to fall off of the swag. I'll just take them together like this and then tie them in the middle. It's just going to give them a little bit of extra security. So you can make your bundles as thick or as thin as you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to do this and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've made my little Easter grass bundles and I have my eggs ready. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put my little bundles, and I don't want to necessarily put them in all the bundles, so I'm going to decide which ones I want to put it on. Okay. So for the first one, and all I did was I put them together and then I tied them in the middle so that they'll stay together, and I'm gonna hot glue them onto each of the little bundles. Some of my hot glue. I crisscross them a little bit too. And then I'll just take one of my Easter eggs. Lather a little bit of glue on there. And then just set it right on top. Okay, so I'm going to finish this, putting all my eggs on here, and then I will come back and show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, so now I've finished putting all my eggs on here. On the bottom of the swag, I'm going to put a little bow with some of my leftover ribbons. I'm just going to attach it with the pipe cleaner, and I'm going to attach it just right at the bottom on the wood stick. And so if you need to, you can put some glue, hot glue on there to secure it. Make sure it doesn't come off after you attached it. I just like, to have the hanging ribbons from the bottom. Gives it a little extra touch. Okay. And now I'm going to attach my little bunny. I made this little bunny. I used a template from Stacy Lee Creative, and I'll leave a link to her video in the description below if you want to make it. They're so cute. And I have attached my pipe cleaner to the back of the ribbon that I put around the bunny's neck, and I'm going to attach it right in the middle of my swag. Just reach out from behind and grab the one on the side, and I'm going to put this one down across this side. Have it in place where I want it. And then I will go on the back and just tighten it and give it some twists. Okay. So from here, you can attach some flowers, some florals. I have this boxwood and some cherry blossoms. I put a little cherry blossom on the ear of my bunny. So if you want to add any of this to the top or anywhere on your swag, you can do that. And so I'll do any last minute little add-ons, and then I'll hang it up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here is the swag. And you can see at the top that I added a couple of loops of the yellow mesh, the jute mesh, just to give it a little bit of height and background at the top. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you have any questions. Leave them in the comments below. I wish everyone a very, very happy Easter, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.